All right. What I want to start with today, because this has been kind of popping up on our mentoring calls, it's popping up in your conversations with Teresa, it's popping up in the Facebook group, which is how to find leads, how to find competing speakers, how to do your competitive scan, how to just get the landscape, how to be a better student of the game, which is really, really, really critical. Obviously, if you don't know, it's impossible to hit a target that you cannot see. So that visibility into the marketplace is very, very important. And then even doing the competitive scan, when you're looking at, well, okay, who's sort of in my category and how do I zig where they zag and how do I add some distinction to what I'm doing and how do I do a better job with differentiating what I'm doing so I don't come across as a same old lame-o commodity speaker, nice to have versus have to have, etc. So what I'll do, and we'll need some live volunteers, especially if you're struggling with the prospecting, the outreach. Again, modules 4, modules 5 is where this is going to come into play for you. The competitive scan, obviously earlier, module 2, module 3. Let's start with the competitive scan actually, because that might be kind of fun. And then I will share my screen and we will find some both competitors, indirect competitors, and alternatives. But all these strategies I'm going to share with you, no matter who volunteers and raises their hand, the same strategies I'm showing you here, using LinkedIn, using Google, using some proprietary blogs and portals and communities, they apply to everybody. They apply to everybody, and this really needs to be integrated into your ongoing tool set of daily and weekly activity. Because again, it's really hard to hit a target that you cannot see. So the competitive scan you only have to do once. You're not going to be doing that every day, every week. But let's start with that because again, some people are scratching their heads about how that works. And there may be some cool, fun insights that you find even if you're past your competitive scan and you want to kind of go back in and see who the other players are in your arena. So who's wrestling with this? Pop in the chat window, kind of who's wrestling with the competitive scan or finding reasonable alternatives or indirect competitors to what you do. So if I'm a meeting planner, I'm a conference producer, I'm a corporate executive, I'm looking to solve the problem that you solve, what am I looking for and who am I likely to find? So Rad says he's up for it. He's ready to give this a shot. Okay, so give me some categories. Like if I'm looking for you, right, I'm not even looking for you. Correction, big correction, important correction. I'm not looking for you because no one's looking for you. No one's looking for you. No one's looking for me. I got bad news. They are looking to solve the problem that you solve. And they want some kind of speaker or expert or author. Maybe they're even looking for information. They're not even looking for a person. They're looking for answers. What kind of thing might they type into Google? Or what kind of person might they be looking for as an outside expert?
I brand myself as a leadership speaker.
Fantastic. Okay. So and that's as broad as it can possibly be, guys, right? So we're all starting with a very, very broad, very, very broad brush. So let me fire up a little browser action here, share my screen with you. And this is where we start, right? We start with good old Google. And I'm just going to close out of these other tabs that we don't need. And so leadership speaker. Now, look what's interesting here. This is the first little hack that everyone needs to know about. I type in leadership speaker or even leadership speak, right? Look at all the autofill options. Google just does this for you. It says, oh, you're about to type, and it looks like leadership speakers, leadership speaking, leadership speakers for college students, leadership speaking topics, leadership speaking skills you probably don't need, leadership speakers Boston, leadership speakers Kansas City. Again, don't know why those are there unless some website has optimized for those and is getting some Google traffic. Google's main job is to serve up relevant search results. So the reason I'm spending even a minute on this is when you start typing in marketing speaker, sales speaker, presentation skills coach, corporate culture expert, whatever you're typing in, this autofill is going to give you some competitive intelligence right here, right now. And you might want to write down, oh, I do want leadership speakers. I want leadership speakers for college students. See what that is like, right? Leadership speaking topics. Oh my goodness, how could I break this down? What are some subsets of my topic? Let me start broad and go with leadership speakers. I'm going to get some ads. Ads are interesting. Ads are optional. Obviously, these people paid to be here. So we can see what Josh Linkner is up to. We can see what Nick Tassler is up to. Those might be interesting. Harry Walker is an agency. So it says book William Bratton, Harry Walker Agency, right? So that's interesting. What I'm more interested in is these listings. Top 50 most popular leadership speakers, 100 great leadership speakers for your next conference. So you can even save some time. Don't go after the onesies. Why would I care about Josh Linkner and Nick Tassler? I want to go to the big list. I want to see, well, who are the top 100? And according to who exactly, right? So here's one from January 2018. Look how fresh this is. January 11th, 2018, right here. Top 100 leadership speakers for 2018. So for Rad's benefit, let's look at that. And here's what's also interesting beyond the pop-up ads. Hang on, I got to move my little video window out of the way. There we go. And let's get, all right. So when you find search results, wouldn't you be interested to find out who Kevin Cruz is? Who the hell is he? Who the hell is he to determine top 100 leadership speakers? So I happen to know the answer, but you'd use Google. Guess who Kevin Cruz is, friends? That's right. He's a leadership speaker. So the first leadership speaker I found is the mofo who wrote the article. Gosh, big surprise. Big shock. Big shock there. So never trust what you find in these articles, right? Who's the source? Who's the writer? Is it self-promotional nonsense in disguise? Very interesting. If I'm a leadership speaker, guess who the number one guy going on my competitive scan is? Kevin Cruz. I'm not even looking at his article. I'm not looking at his article. I'm like, okay, well, what's this guy's secret sauce? What's he got going on that I don't have going on, right? Very, very interesting. Let's go back to the list. So John Acuff, Paul Axtell, Erica Anderson. And again, I might even kind of look at the quick little bio. I mean, this is very convenient. He's gone to 100 websites. If I see something that kind of is in my area, I'm going to click through. Paul Axtell is the author of Meetings Matter and teaches specific strategies to facilitate effective, engaging meetings. That's not what Rad does. That's not relevant to Rad. It's not going to be, it's going to be Paul Axtell or it's going to be Rad. No. So we're going to keep looking, right? So Be Bad First, Managing for Happiness, Vernice Armour, The Fly Girl, Richard. I'm going to stop on one of these. I'm going to click through. There's Baldoni. There's Dove Barron, Susan Moe, Alicia, Chris, Travis Baird. I've never heard of these guys, by the way. I've never heard of any of these guys. And I like to think I'm a student of the game. So a lot of these people are authors, and they're probably authors first, speakers second, right? Michael Stanier is kind of a coach kind of guy. Bob Berg is actually a very successful speaker. Dory Clark is a speaker on thought leadership. Elisa Cohen, Doug Conant, former CEO of Campbell's Soup. So that's not really relevant. But again, if you didn't know, you just simply start clicking through. You could literally spend an hour clicking through on lists like this, and your competitive scan is done. So becoming a student of the game and really figuring out who's where, who's doing what, who's positioning themselves with what sort of thing. But let's go back even to the search results. So this was just one search result, and I found 100 people to look at. Let's go back to the search results. Now, here's what's interesting. This is going to also lead you to speakers bureaus. So executivespeakers.com is a speakers bureau. I know that. You would know it as soon as you clicked. Let's click, right? And it's top 10 leadership speakers according to executive speakers. All right, well, let's find out who they are. Mike Abrashoff, Eric Bowles, Keith Ferrazzi, Molly Fletcher, Tom Flick, John Foley. And again, if you're getting all these superstars, many of these guys are $30,000, $40,000 speakers. You're like, well, I'm not quite there yet. You know, you're not Patrick Lencioni. Sorry. But what I might do is I might hang out on this website. I might select a topic like leadership. Scroll, scroll, scroll. You guys can still see what I'm doing here, yes? I can never tell when I'm, hang on one second. Did you come with me to the Speakers Bureau website? Was that good? We all saw that? Okay. When you change tabs, like change the window, it changes the screen that gets shared. So let me pop back right into there. Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would go in here. I would type in leadership. I type it in the right field. I would type in leadership in the correct place. Leadership, right? I would put in fee range 5 to 7,500, right? That's kind of where we are as professional speakers. We're not superstars. We're not rock stars, depending on where you are and what you've gotten in the past. You might want to ramp that up, you know. There's folks in here doing 75 to 10. There's folks in here doing 15 to 20. That's great. God bless you. We're not playing the comparison game. If I was rad, I might start here. I might also look at 7,500 to 10, just out of curiosity. Now, here's what I'm doing. I'm using the Bureau as my search engine to look for leadership in my price category. I'm going to hit Find Speaker. I got 59 people to look at. Look at this. I got 59 people to choose from. Same thing with the Inc. magazine list of 100. I'm not going to click through all of them. I'm going to click through the 2 or 3 that kind of maybe sort of look like me, that kind of maybe sort of say what I say, that kind of maybe sort of feel like I want to feel. And I'm going to study them. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to see what kind of articles they write. I'm going to see what LinkedIn, I'm going to look them up on LinkedIn. I'm going to see what LinkedIn groups they belong to. Because whatever LinkedIn group Ben Atkins belongs to, and if I'm a conflict resolution artist, isn't that clever? Conflict resolution artist. And I happen to be in the conflict arena myself, like Melinda, who just graduated from our program, I would want to trail Ben Atkins like a crazy person. I'd want to go to his website. I'd want to see what blogs he's written. I want to see what publications he's published in. I would want to see who are his recommendations on LinkedIn, because those are probably his clients. I would go to his client list and kind of see if I can pick up on any patterns of what types of clients tend to hire Ben. So I got 59 people. And again, it's another hour and a half. There's my buddy Kristen Arnold. Jim Bearden's in here. Don I'm familiar with. Jared's a good friend. Michael, Bill Butterworth I don't know. Blake I don't know. Bill I don't know. Bruce, Ron Culberson's a buddy of mine. So again, this, you just kind of click around. So if you're not a humorist, right? You're not going to click through on Ron. So if you are a humorist, you might click through on Ron. And I know Karen Buxman and I will both get on the phone with Ron and say, Ron, what the hell? It's time to raise your freaking fee. Ron, you're in the Speaker Hall of Fame, for Christ's sakes. Raise your fee. That's what I'm going to have that conversation with Ron in Baltimore probably tomorrow. I will say, Ron, what the hell's wrong with you? You're lowballing your fee. So now I have a data point. But that's how it works. That's literally how it works. So questions about that. I mean, again, once you get in and you start to engage, this is not hard. This is not hard to do. Yeah, Kristie Stalker's like, Ron, what the hell? What the hell, Ron? You're undercharging, dude. All right. Any questions about the competitive scan? Because then we're gonna go to someone else. We're gonna go to someone else, and we're gonna find 10 leads for you. Not 1, not 3. We're gonna find 10 leads for you right now. So who would like 10 leads for your topic, for your program? Conferences, associations, decision makers. I saw so many hands. Let's go with Susan. Did you raise your hand? I saw guys and Susan. So we'll do ladies first. But again, this is not like me doing it. These fingers are not magic. Like the reason I'm showing this to you is not to give you the fish. It's to teach you to fish. So we could spend all day today just like doing this on Google, but that would not be a good use of our time together because your fingers work just like mine. You know, the only person that can't do this is Goofy the dog. We're doing an embarrassing dog. We're doing a dog shot. Can you see the upside down dog on my sofa? So there's the dog. Okay. If you have no opposable thumbs, if you have paws, then this becomes hard and I can do your Google searches for you. Assuming that you've got digits on your hands, you're not a dog, you're not a Labrador Retriever, you can do this too. So Susan, talk to me about the kinds of corporations and associations and groups and associations you'd like to get in front of.
Oops. Thanks, David. So I'm looking at working with engineers.
Great.
So I saw women in technology.
Okay.
As one area. There's Society of Women Engineers. And that's as far as I've gotten. Okay.
So let's look at, I'm not chatting in the window for you guys. I'm just writing this down. So women engineers and women in tech, right? That's really what we're after. Okay.
Right.
Someone needs to start a stopwatch on how fast we're going to find Susan these 10 leads. Just for fun. Someone like just start a stopwatch, start a countdown timer. Let's see how we do. So let me go back to screen sharing. You can already have started the clock. I don't even care. You can give me like a head start, a negative head start. All right. So women engineers. So well, again, let's go back to Google because Google can just give us huge insight. Here's interesting. So not a lot of autofill, right? Women engineering scholarships. Let's do engineering leadership. Wow. So isn't presentation skills in a technical field part of engineering leadership?
Yes.
Right here, engineering leadership development program. I would jump all over that like white on rice. I would go crazy on that. I really would. Engineering leadership development, two brand new ideas. Let's look at engineering conference. Look what pops up. Engineering conferences, 2017, 2018. If you want to focus on the USA, you want to go to Chicago, you want to go to Dallas, engineering conferences near me, engineering conferences for students. Imagine if a conference brought Susan in for $7,500 or $10,000 to their graduate engineering program because they knew that in order for those students to be successful in their career, they would need to be better technical presenters. So there's a sponsorship idea. There's a direct or an indirect revenue idea. Is wow, engineering for students. Engineering in these graduate engineering programs. Engineering for these engineering PhD programs. Why not bring Susan in to do a graduate seminar? The career development office will do this. Sometimes the engineering department will do this. My wife works at Bryn Mawr College. Her department, small little department of intercultural affairs, they brought in this amazing speaker. Her name is Beverly Daniels Tatum. She wrote a very interesting book on intercultural race relations back about 20 years ago. They're paying this woman $18,000. She says, colleges don't have money. Departments within colleges don't have money. I couldn't possibly go to this little small interdepartmental group here on the campus of Bryn Mawr College. They couldn't pay $18,000. She was there last night. She signed 100 books. She had a home run program. She left with an $18,000 check. And my wife wrote the check. So this happens more often than you would think if you do the research, if you do the thinking process behind it. So let's just go to engineering conferences straight up. We'll get to the women. We'll get to the women in tech. So sit tight. So Engineering Conferences International, ASME Conference, Association of Mechanical Engineers, right? Here's ASCE, Civil Engineering. So there's a whole bunch of branches, of course, of engineering, right? Here's Engineering Conferences and Meetings. This is cool because this is kind of the mothership of like, well, let's get not just one engineering conference, let's go to directories of engineering conferences. And we click through on that. And here's the whole list, starting in the middle of March, right? Is about boom, 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 prospect, 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 all the way through. We could click through on any of these. We could go to the mothership. We could find more just like these, right? And it just goes on and on. But again, that's just one link. Let's keep going. Conferences and events for IEEE, which is the electrical engineering. And look, the first one here is women. I didn't even type in women. Well, look, my search up here was just the generic, and right away in the first page of Google results, here it is with the 2018 IEEE Women in Engineering. Let's click through on that guy. Whoops, pop-ups. So there it is, right? Women in Engineering International Leadership Conference. Now we're tying a couple things together for Susan. Number one is women. Number two is this concept of engineering leadership meetings, which, Susan, you might not have even known about, correct?
Correct.
So, boom, entirely new arena of conferences and conventions and meetings has just opened up for you. So let's go down and keep looking. Meetings and conferences overview. Oh my goodness, the conference committee. Wouldn't that link be handy? Let's see who's on the conference committee, right? So learn more about the conference committee. That's going to be a PDF. We can look at that. And again, this, I might click through on this 30-page PDF. It could be a total waste of time.
Right.
However, I'm guessing it's not a waste of time because it probably has the committee members in here somewhere. If I search for members, tab membership and voting on page 11. So let's see if we can find some board members, find some decision makers here. Hang on one sec. This is the part that gets fun. This is the part that gets fun here. Well, I guess that's just how we elect them. So this might be a total waste of time, right? You scan it, maybe save it, download it to your hard drive, great, and we move on. Wasn't all that productive. What I might do here, however, is go to About. I might go to either Leadership or Board. Let's see where that is. Sometimes they have like a menu within a menu. Sometimes they have a secondary menu down below. Join, renew, councils, volunteer. Let's do learn more. They're being crafty here, but I want to walk you through the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this is learn more. Corporate identity, governance. So governance might be interesting. Governing documents, elections, management council. Okay, so we got it, finally. A little bit of a rabbit hunt. Had to go down some rabbit holes. Wouldn't it be nice to drop Stephen Welby, who's the executive director and COO of IEEE, a nice little email, a nice little note, a nice little phone call. Here we got Chris Brantley, who's managing director. Michael, if you want to put an article in, Michael Forster's your guy. He heads up publications. Karen might be interesting because she heads up marketing. Corporate activities, not sure what that means. Member services, member activities, always a good person. Cecilia might be Susan's new best friend. Standards Association, compliance, probably don't need her. Oh, Jamie. Jamie's going to be my new best friend. Jamie's going to be Susan's new best friend. Educational activities. Jamie, do I have an educational activity for your next Women in Engineering conference? Jamie, do I have an educational activity for your next leadership conference? Right? And all we do is we find these people. CFO you don't necessarily need. A lot of these people you don't necessarily need. But the 2 or 3 people, the boss, the publications person, the conference person, the education person, the member services person, these are your new best friends. Now, here's what I would do. IEEE is a fairly huge association. It's really, really big. There's probably 20 people on the staff, 25 people on the staff. I can call them up. I can say, hi, I'm trying to reach Jamie Mesh. I'm going to hope not to screw up his last name. I'm guessing it's Mesh. I'll say, I'm trying to reach Jamie Mesh. Am I pronouncing his last name right? Yes, great. What's this about? It's about the upcoming conference. That's it. And then I open the conversation. Hi, Jamie. This is David Newman. I speak to groups of engineers. I'm going to customize the template. I speak to groups of engineers who want to do a better job with their marketing and grow their engineering firm. Do you think a program like this might be valuable for your members at one of your upcoming meetings? That's it. It's the can opener. It's the door opener. I'm in. He'll pass me off to the executive director. He'll pass me off to the conference chair. He'll pass me off to a board member. He might just say, David, that would be great. Let's talk about that. You know, our engineers really, they're terrible at marketing. They hate marketing. By the way, they're worse at presenting, and they hate presenting worse than marketing, so that's pretty good. This is how to do it. So literally, between the directories of conferences, between finding individual human beings on the board, on the staff, on the team, lead generate, you've got multiple lifetimes of leads in here, guys. Multiple lifetimes of leads. Anyone that has their message dialed in to any extent, and we could do 2 or 3 more, we could do 10 more, they all works the same way. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes, like I downloaded that PDF, that was a dead end. That was a dead end. I didn't practice any of these ahead of time. I said, okay, who wants to be up? And, you know, we found a couple things, you know, for Rad, for his competitive scan. We found a couple things for Susan, for lead generation. But I would keep going. So let me just finish out the lead gen because it's so important. And so this is a gold mine for you, obviously. But we'll keep going. I would do engineering conferences. Susan, what state are you in?
California.
Yeah, oh, good. It's one of the big ones. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? It's the biggest one. So look at this. Civil Engineering Conference, California. Again, Google does the autocomplete. Engineering Conferences, California 2015. Now you might think, well, why is 2015? Why am I getting 2015? Why would I even want to look at old conference information? Old conference information is intelligent prospecting. So Susan goes, she finds something from 2015, 2016, downloads the conference brochure. They've never had a concurrent session or a main stage session of any kind on presentation skills. She calls them up. She says, this could be the world's shortest phone call because I noticed over the last 4 years, you have never had a single session at any of your conferences on presentation skills for engineers. So either I'm trying to sell shoes to Eskimos or we have something to talk about. Is there a reason that you don't think that the number one leadership and communication competency with any engineer and any engineering executive, why is your association not serving that need? And you wouldn't ask it in a provocative or an angry way. You would ask it out of genuine curiosity. Don't your members need to become more influential presenters? Don't your members need to be more influential leaders? When they present inside and outside the engineering firm, isn't there a huge demand for them to be more effective? And why are they not getting that from your association? You're the biggest professional association in this entire industry. Why is that need going unmet? Now, that's a very interesting conversation that you're about to have with that executive. So let's just see what comes up. So San Francisco Conferences and Events, Los Angeles, California Science Education Conference. That's interesting. That's kind of teachers, I guess. SPIE, conference calendar for IEEE. Again, another gold mine perhaps there. International Conference on Software Engineering. So let's go to the women. Let's go to the women in technology. And again, stop right here, guys. Let the Google autocomplete. Look what just came up for Susan. Women in technology. Women in Tech Summit. Women in Tech Conferences. Women in Technology International. Women in Technology Conference. Women in Technology Statistics. Wouldn't that be interesting? Women in Tech Podcast. Shouldn't Susan be a guest on the Women in Tech podcasts that are out there?
Hey, David.
Short answer is yes, every single one. Yeah.
Can you share the screen again?
Have I not been sharing the screen that whole time? Nope. Oh my God. It's a gold mine. Sorry, let's go back. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Here's what came up, right? This is what I was talking about. Sorry for dropping the screen share there. But this is huge, right? Women in technology. I just started typing women in tech and I stopped. Women in Tech Summit, Women in Tech Conferences, Women in Technology International, Women in Technology Conference, Women in Technology Statistics that I mentioned, Women in Tech Podcast. Susan should be emailing, like today, this afternoon, find all those podcasts. Let's just go here. Let's just go here for the hell of it. Right? Women in Tech Podcasts. So we got the Women in Tech Show, Women in Tech Podcast. Now, here's the other thing, by the way. If you were serious about a podcasting strategy, iTunes is a search engine. I would open up iTunes. I would type in Women in Tech, just like we did in Google. Find 5 or 10 podcast hosts that have a show like this. Say, Dear Deborah, Dear Susan, Dear Espray, my topic expertise is helping women in technology become more powerful, influential leaders and presenters. Wondering if a topic like this might make a great episode for your listeners. Now, again, make it about them. Everything we do in here is make it about them. Make it about their podcast, their show, their listeners. Would it be valuable? Would it be a valuable show topic to share with your listeners? Not a me, I-centric message, but a them-centric message. So let's look at this. Women in Tech Podcast. Let's just click all the way through here. This looks like it's some kind of opt-in thing. You might want to do that. You might not. Let's see what this woman Espray has going on. So we are LA Tech. Episode 193. 193, when someone does like more than 100 episodes, you know they're serious, you know they have a following, you know they have some kind of reach. I would listen to a couple of these episodes just for self-education and also to pitch yourself on the program. So what Susan might say is, hey, Espray, I heard the Jennifer Miller interview and I loved this and this about it. I also took some time and I listened to Christina Poindexter. I loved the way she talked about journaling with personality and smarts. My topic is fill in the blank. I'm wondering if a show like that might be valuable for your listeners. And now she spent a grand total of 25 minutes, right, educating herself on what this host is about, how the show sounds, how the show goes, getting used to her voice, sends a quick email. Imagine if you were featured on just one podcast a week in your target market, in your exact bullseye niche where you want to make a big honkin' footprint, right? Wouldn't that be, and again, this is one email. 1 or 2 or 3 emails gets you one podcast guest slot. I will tell you from my personal experience and from experience with lots of folks that have podcasts, I've got clients and friends who have 300-400 episode podcasts. They're always looking for guests. Not sometimes, not once in a while, always looking for guests. So this is what, Google is your friend. When I say Google is your friend, for all y'all, I mean Google is your friend. Competitive scan, prospect research, sales opportunities, podcast opportunities, blogging and article placement opportunities, interview opportunities. By the way, this interviews is a marketing strategy that we talk about in Module 4. People say, I don't know who to interview. Well, so first of all, you interview the people that you want to make into your prospects. If you don't know, then I might look at some trade publications, some industry publications, some blogs, and some podcasts, see who those people are interviewing, and simply cherry pick. It's like, oh, episode 171, that looked like, that person's a vice president at General Electric. Here's what I know so far about that vice president at General Electric. She has an interesting story to tell, and she's willing to be interviewed. Why? Because you heard her on someone else's podcast. So now when you approach that person for an interview, they're much more likely to say yes because they've already said yes to someone else. So, people that think that you're starting with a blank slate or that this is somehow hard or that this is like, oh my God, I don't know where to look and I don't know what to do and I don't know, Stop doing the I don't know what to be ba-doo, because you do know what to be ba-doo, and you got to just start doing it. And I know it's very technical jargon I'm using there, but don't tell me that you don't know what to be ba-doo, because you know exactly what to be ba-doo and what to do when you're looking for leads, when you're looking for prospects, when you're looking to fill your pipeline. I don't usually share this very advanced marketing jargon like I just did, but I think you guys are advanced enough where you get it. You get it and you understand what I'm talking about. So any questions about that? Any questions about the kind of the Google basic 101 tricks and tips that I just showed you? And you can rewatch and re-listen the front part of this if you want to try it again and do it in your topic, do it in your region, do it in your state. Yeah, Jack, go ahead.
So during your scan, you find a conference, but you find out that 2 or 3 years ago, they had a speaker that talks on your exact topic. Should you still contact them? Is 2 or 3 years enough time to have elapsed, or should you just file them away for like a 5-year mark? Or
no, I would never disqualify yourself. You know, let the prospects are great at doing this for us. Don't take away their fun.
Okay.
Don't take away their fun, and also don't assume that you won't get hired. You know, because here's what happens, and this is a very common thing. They love a speaker, they love a topic, and it's, oh man, we'd love to have you back. And now you're getting all excited. You're like, oh my God, they're going to have me back. This is the easiest money I ever made. I did 1 home run in 2017. They want me again in 2018. Then they say the word but. And the word but is almost always followed by, but we can never bring back the same speaker more than 2 years in a row. So, you know, we'll see you later. So even if they had a guy like you in your topic area last year, they can't bring him in. They always want fresh faces, fresh voices, whatever. When we're looking at our own repeat business, spin-off business, etc., that's bad for us. When we're looking at the situation, Jack, that you just talked about, it's awesome. It's a huge buying signal that if they loved this guy 3 years ago, they're going to love you even more today.
That's great.
Perfect. Thanks.
So that's how that works. All right, let's go to our Q&A. Kristie says, do I have templates or examples of contracts, menu of services that you can share? I do, and let me show you where those are, actually. And we need to, Morgan, please make a note that we need to fix this. This comes up often, and it's in our Facebook group, but no one ever thinks to look there. So let's fix that. Here's because I posted these before, probably on multiple occasions. Let me go into speaker profit formula. There is a bevy, a wealth of cool, fun things that are not inside our training portal, but that are inside the files. So, for example, when you type in contract, right? I'm out here searching. Hopefully you guys can see this if I shared the screen correctly again, but you'll let me know if you can't see this. I type in contract, and I say, okay, contract templates, right? And so contract template 3, contract template 4. You simply click through on these guys, and you will find them. There's contract 3, there's contract 4. But this is from like last summer, okay, like June. And so I don't want to keep sending people back, Morgan, to the Facebook group. We should find like a spot for some extra templates, tools, and scripts. Probably the contract should go in module 6. Let's download these, and we'll ask Sam to pop them into module 6, because these contracts are great and they're important, but right now they're buried and hidden in our Facebook group because previous people have asked for them. And I said, yeah, no, here it is. And like, you know, you guys are here in February 2018, and someone before you asked in June 2017, and you'd never find it unless A, you knew it was there, and B, you knew what to search for. So Kristie, I would just share with you that the quick answer is get them out of the Facebook group, do what I just did, search for contract, and you have 4 fabulous training contracts and speaking contracts in there. And then we will now put those in the portal. We will now put those in the portal for you guys, so it's much easier to access.
Nope, that's great.
Yeah. And yes, good. So my bad. I mean, it's funny. Part of what we do, of course, in the Facebook group is whatever you guys need, right? If we have it, we give it to you. It's, oh, it's not in the training portal. Well, then you don't need it. It's like, no. You need it, and you're asking for it, and we give it to you. But sometimes it ends up in the Facebook group and it doesn't end up in a centralized spot. So we're going to fix that up for you. All right.
And I just have one last question, David.
Sure.
For the contracts, I mean, obviously I haven't seen them yet, but I'll look over them.
Yeah.
Does it go over, like, I've heard from so many different professional speakers that some of them say, okay, my speaking fees, $5,000, travel expenses is $1,000. They just prorate it. Or then some of them do the travel expenses and then they ask for reimbursement after.
Right.
Do you have a certain way that's better than another?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Now again, it's not even one way. It's a way to think about the way that you want to bill for travel, hotel, etc. The one mistake that you really shouldn't make is thinking that whatever your fee is, that includes travel. No. It's always your speaking fee plus something for travel. Now, the two options there, and there's a third option I'll tell you about in a second. The two options there are actual expenses, right, submitted with receipts, right? So we don't mark anything up. We don't go crazy and buy bottles of champagne and steak dinners. But, $400 for the airplane ticket. Usually, if it's a hotel situation, they put you up in the room block they already have, so you usually don't get involved in hotel. If they don't do that, then it's the cost of the hotel room, etc. That's option number one, is actual expenses as billed. Option number two is to do what you have heard advised, which is neither here nor there. Flat fee. It's flat fee. Anywhere in North America, my speaking fee is $5,000. And it's $1,000 for travel, and it's, or whatever the number is, $750. Some people do $500. Philadelphia, it's possible that I'd have a gig on the West Coast where, depending on the timing, that might be a $700 plane ticket, et cetera. So I'd probably go more like $750, et cetera. The flat fee is appealing because there's no surprises. Flat fee is appealing because it is what it is. You will never pay a penny more. There's no surprises. So either actual or flat is in category number one. Category number two is when travel and expenses is a bargaining chip. So if your fee is $5,000, and ordinarily it's $5,000 plus travel, either version, doesn't matter. They're on the phone, they're back and forth. Well, we'd like to spend $4,500, and if they're kind of close, and I say, listen, Jane, I'm going to stop using Susan because there's two Susans in the program right now. It just gets confusing. Susan, by the way, is my generic client name. So I'm used to saying Susan, but now we'll say Jane. So Jane, tell you what, if we can make a decision right here, right now on the phone, in exchange for that decision, I will make my fee $5,000 all inclusive, all in. I will eat the travel. I will get myself there. I will pay my own hotel. I will make all the arrangements. It's literally bottom line, invoice for $5,000, boom, easy, done. If we can decide this today. Now, from a negotiating standpoint, module 6, wink, 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 we never bargain, right? We never give up something without something in exchange. I don't want to be chasing you for another 3 weeks. If we can decide this now, if I can send you the agreement today, I am happy to do this for $5,000 all in. In my case, it would be $9,500 all in, but in your case, it might be $5,000 all in, right? $5,000 all in, no surprises. I will take care of the expenses. Would you like to move ahead today? Oh my God, that would be great. Kristie, yes, let's do it today. Send me an invoice. I'm loving $5,000. We can totally do $5,000. Our budget was $4,500 anyway. We've had speakers that fly first class. We've had speakers that charge up the bill in the hotel room. I always get in trouble. $5,000 all in, no problem. Boom, easy, done. Fantastic. Congratulations, you're hired. So use it, bake it in as a negotiating chip when you need that little bit of negotiating room. But don't just bake it in for no reason. Bake it in for something. Bake it in. I like baking it in for a decision. If we can decide this right now, so I'll tell you a story. I was doing a program for the Michigan Association of Chamber Professionals. And at that point in time, my fee was $7,500. And the guy says, oh, man, but all we have is 6,500. Okay, it's close, right? His name was Bob. His real name was Bob, who's the executive director. It's not a made-up name. I said, well, Bob, what else do you have going on? Do you want to buy books for everybody? Oh, no, we can totally buy books. I said, how many folks coming to the meeting? He says 100. I say, so if you're willing to buy 100 books for everybody, because that's got economic value to me, even though I don't make much money on the books, but having a book for everyone in the room, I said, if you're willing to buy a book for everyone in the room, I will take my fee down to 6,500. So now it's 6,500 speaking fee plus travel on top of that, which he gladly paid, plus he bought 100 books from Amazon or wherever he could get the books cheap. I didn't even sell him the books. Memo, I did not even sell him the books. If you have a self-published book, you want to sell books, great. You'll make another $1,000 or $2,000. I didn't even sell him the books. I said, get the books from Amazon and send me the receipt. He buys 100 books, and if $13 is what they were at that point. So he took $1,300 out of some other budget to buy the books to get my speaking fee down to $6,500. I had another situation where I was talking in San Antonio, Texas, and we were really close on the fee. This was a dealer for a big national franchise, and they had a big national franchise conference that they brought all their dealers into. And again, it was like 7,500, we were super close. And I said to the guy, I said, well, Ryan, his name was Ryan. I said, Ryan, why are we quibbling over $500? I mean, 7,500, 7,000, I get it, but what's the problem? He says, well, David, it's funny. We're working on the catering, and, for the number of people that are coming, the open bar is going to cost us $500. And I said, you're kidding. He said, no, I'm not kidding. He says, so I kind of need that $500 to put towards the open bar. So I said, well, Ryan, I don't usually do an open bar discount, but I'll tell you what I'm willing to do. If this is a go right now, right, timing incentive, if this is a go right now, I will send you an invoice for $7,500. On that invoice, you will see a second line that says open bar credit minus 500, and the invoice bottom line will be balance due $7K. Does that work for you if I send over that invoice this afternoon? Oh, David, that would be great. That would be awesome. So I literally cut the guy a $500 discount because he wanted to get the open bar for this particular reception thing that they were doing. And I was happy to do that in exchange for a decision right then. I don't want to call you back. I don't want to chase you. I don't want this to be a 2-week or 3-week ordeal. I want to close this now. I want to send you the invoice. I want to get the money. I want to serve the hell out of your group. I want to have fun with you guys. Let's make this happen. Great. And so time, value, books, video, speed, whatever has value to you are your negotiating chips. And there's an entire negotiating menu in Module 6. But that's the difference between, travel and expense. Is there a right way? No, there's a right way that serves you. There's a right way that serves your needs. So, for example, if you lived in the middle of the country, if you lived in Texas or Minnesota or Chicago, I would really encourage you to do a $500 flat fee travel, because you can get anywhere in the continental United States for less than $500 if you're coming from the middle of the country, especially if you like to fly Southwest like I do. I either, if I really want to torture myself, I will fly first class on American. If I'm just want to punish myself. If I want to have fun, there is no first class on Southwest, so I will spend $300 and fly on Southwest. And it's more fun than first class on American because I just hate American Airlines, but that's a whole separate discussion. If you live on like the West Coast, the East Coast, maybe flat fee will serve you. I like kind of at cost so that they know they're not getting ripped off. And then the flat fee is an option. And then baking it in is a negotiating chip. Baking it in is a negotiating chip. So that's the deal. Could you have sponsored the open bar, or would that? Oh, well, I didn't even think of that. that would have been great. I wasn't that smart. Back then. It should have been the Do It Marketing open bar. It should have been the David Newman, speaker hosted open bar. I should have done that. Damn.
Did you make sure
bar.
you at least got some drinks out of the deal?
Oh, I was at the open bar. Sure. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm no
Just
dummy.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It was a
making
pretty
sure.
good open bar, if I remember. Well, because remember, these guys they were franchise guys. They're kind of blue collar. They like to have
Right.
some nice drinks, and so the dealership helped them out. It was cool. Yeah. Now we all learned something. Hashtag sponsor the bar. Sponsor the bar. You guys having like an open bar? Yeah. Well, so we're about $1,000 different on the fee. We're $1,500. Yeah. So how about you pay me the money that you want to pay me, and I sponsor the open bar? Oh, that'd be great, right? So if they didn't have the fee, right, then the exchange is sponsored by Jack and Dina Hirsch, sponsored by Leonard, sponsored by Gary. It's like put a little sign up, right? It's like you know what I would do. So seriously, if this were me today, I would say I will sponsor the bar, and I will even buy the napkins. And I'd put my logo on the napkins, and I would just ship those ahead to the hotel, ship those ahead to my contact, and then you'd have like 150 or 300 people I would do it marketing napkins going, oh, what's this? This is cool. Good. And little website down below. And it would be a very fun conversation starter is to have your branded napkin. And napkin's like the cheapest thing you possibly buy. It's like $100 for like 1,000 napkins. Anyway, so that's the deal there. Who's next? Next in the question queue. Who else do we have for today?
That was awesome. Thank you.
I know, right? Now we have sponsor the bar, custom napkins, 3 ways to charge for travel. Another gold mine session here today, people. Another
Big time gold mine.
Session. All right.
Perfect.
So Rad asked some questions above, and they just scrolled right by me. So Rad, what else can we help you with? Help me out and grab those questions from the chat because I'm not seeing them right now.
I don't really recall asking anything specific.
Oh, you asked, are there other items in the file section
Oh, yeah.
we should have? Maybe. I don't know. It could be a hidden treasure gold mine in there for all I know. I would go shopping in there. I would actually just kind of, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, I wonder what this is. Because here's a couple things you'll find in there. And this is the benefit. This is one of the many benefits of going through this as a cohort and going through this as a group. Folks share their documents. Folks share, and some people have gone off the template and don't necessarily listen to my advice, which is fine. You're on your own recognizance here as adults. But they go, oh, man, and so there's things they come up with that might fit their business, that might fit nobody else in here. But when Leonard looks at that, he goes, damn, I could use a version of that. Or here's like a PowerPoint or a one sheet or something. And it's like, oh, a one sheet that is horizontal instead of vertical. What a cool idea. I should make my one sheet like that, or I'd like to make my one sheet like that. So literally, even if it's only for getting your creative juices going, getting a little mind sparking going, kind of click through some of the things that I posted, click through some of the things that our graduates have posted, and some of it's gonna be like, nope, got that, mine's better, follow the template, don't worry about that. But then there may be 1 or 2 things in there where you go, that might be the perfect thing for me to work on right now. Don't let it distract you. Don't get all crazy. Don't make yourself crazy about it. But it might be a very educational or enlightening shopping trip as you're clicking through those. So that's a great question. Is it like, what else is hiding in there? It's like, I don't know, it's a treasure chest.
I just didn't know if you had your documents in there that we should know about. That.
No. Aside from the contracts, and that was an oversight. That's why I asked Morgan, I said, hey, let's fish those contracts out of there. Those really belong in the training portal. Anything that is a must-have, any contracts aren't a must-have, but there's a very, very important nice-to-have. Well, they're a must-have now because they're going in the portal. But things like that, I want to have inside the training portal so you guys have kind of one-stop shopping and that you don't actually need to fish through all the random files that people have been asking for or putting in. I will also actually go through, now that you mention it, and thank you for the prompt, I will go through the file section and make sure that there isn't anything else hiding in there that we all need to work on or that we all need to see. So
thank you.
Yeah. Morgan, please put that on my to-do list. When I tell people, by the way, that Morgan is my left hand and my right hand and my brain, I'm like dead serious. Like, I'm not going to remember this 2 hours from now. Morgan's going to remember it until it's done. And that's the beauty. It's not done yet. You still haven't done this yet. Hey, David, when are you going to do it? It's like, oh, man, right, that thing. And it's amazing how it gets done when there's someone to remind you and keep on tapping on your forehead until you get it done. So that's Morgan's job, is to ride herd on this entire crazy operation that we have here. All right. Let me see. What else? Wendy says, please speak about conferences that one may want to speak at, but they expect the speaker to pay the registration fee. Okay, so this is just kind of a standard spiel. I'll keep this one fairly short because most of you have heard this before in some way, shape, or form. If it's a lead-generating speech, right, and by lead, let's define what that really is. That is you, it's you finding them. Let's just make that a hard and fast rule from now on. What should be a paid speech that is not a paid speech because they have no budget, and then they're promising you, oh, but you'll get exposure. That's not a lead generating speech. That's a charitable contribution. That right there is a charitable contribution. This is you looking at the landscape like we did at the top of the call today and saying, where do I need to be because my prospects are there? Where do I need to be because my decision makers are there? Where do I need to be because my next 3 clients or 5 clients are hiding in that audience of decision makers? You approaching them then telling you, A, we don't pay speakers, and B, by the way, if we do choose you to come and do a speech, you have to pay the registration fee. If I have a high degree of confidence that there is $10,000 to $30,000 of business at that event, $10,000 to $30,000, my next 2 speeches, 4 speeches, 5 coaching clients, whatever it is, I'm happy to pay $800 or $1,200. I want to be at that event. And I'll tell you how I want to work that event. I want to speak at that event. I want to visit the trade show, visit the exhibits, see who the other vendors are, see who else is in the ecosystem, see who the sponsors are, right? Because guess what? They're sponsoring the conference. They can probably sponsor me. They have a big trade show booth. They're spending probably $50,000, $80,000. A, they're probably my next private client if they're making a big splash in this industry. B, they have the money to spend to make a big impression in front of these people. Next year, they're my corporate sponsor when I come and speak at this event as their main stage paid speaker. So I want to see who's in the program book. I want to visit all the people that are doing the concurrent sessions, really put my finger on the pulse of this. And I want to leave with my next 10 to 20 leads that'll become my next 3 to 4 paying clients. So if you choose, you pick, you target, right? This is in the generic speaker world, it's going to be things like ASAE, right? ASAE is the American Society of Association Executives. I'll tell you a funny story about ASAE and my buddy Scott Ginsberg. This is from like 15 years ago when he was starting and I was starting, and he started at a much higher level than I did, but that's okay. Scott gets a chance to present on the main stage at the American Society of Association Executives National Convention. Huge opportunity, breakthrough, huge. A, you pay to be there. B, you donate 100 books to their bookstore, free. You ship them. You pay for the shipping too. He does a home run program. So he and the woman that hired him, Scott and the client, are going down the escalator after his main stage program into the bookstore area for his book signing. The woman who was his client turns to Scott, says, Scott, that was a total home run. That was completely amazing. You blew our doors off. By the way, how much do you charge for a speech like that? And he goes, oh, I charge $25. And the woman says, oh, wow, $25,000. Scott says, no, $2,500. Did you think I charged $25,000? This woman, the client, grabs his arm on the escalator on the way down, says, listen, you're about to be in front of your next 30 or 40 prospects. I never want to hear the numbers 2,500 come out of your mouth By the time this escalator gets to the ground floor, you are $7,500. Are we clear? Scott literally grabbing on the arm, like Scott's like, yeah, okay, yes, 7,500. That's my fee. I got it. He sits down. He signs books. All these association executives, all these meeting planners, all these conference people, all these executive directors, all these education chairs from all these associations all over the country. Scott booked 30 gigs. 30. His entire next year filled up out of speaking at ASAE. You know what would have killed his business? Telling those people 2,500. He says, if that woman hadn't grabbed my arm and said, I never want to hear you say 2,500, leave your mouth. If you tell these people 2,500, you're going to embarrass me. You're going to embarrass me. You're going to embarrass yourself. You are 7,500 by the time we get to the bottom of this escalator. Okay. 30 gigs, over $200,000 of business. A, because he knocked it out of the park. B, because he was in a room full of buyers. He was put himself in front of that room full of buyers at his own expense, flew himself there, paid for the conference, donated 100 books, shipped 100 books. This probably cost him like $5,000, all told. Between getting there, registering, buying the books, sending the books, it was a $5,000 investment. And he made $200,000 of business. Literally, he counted them. He's a metrics freak. 30 gigs came out of that ASAE national event. So that's a lead generating speech, guys. It's not like, oh, the lunch ladies want you, but they don't have any money. Okay, I'll talk to the lunch ladies. I'll talk to the National Association of Lunch Ladies. Why? Right? Do you sell the lunch ladies? Are lunch ladies your economic buyer? No. Do the lunch ladies have your full fee? No. You shouldn't be in that room. You should not be in that room. So here's the metrics. A, you find them, you find them, lead generating speech. You have a high degree of confidence that your next 5 to 10 good clients are hiding in that audience, meaning that they attract the right kind of audience. The right kind of people are in the right room for the right reason, and they're at the right level. They're economic buyers. They're decision makers. They're not frontline people that couldn't hire you to do a magic show. So right kind of people, right? And if you have to pay to be there, you pay to be there, right? Because you have done your homework, you've done your due diligence, and you know now that it's the right room with the right people, with the right buyers, and a very, very high chance that your next 3 to 5 to 10 clients are hiding in that very audience that you're going to be in front of. So don't guess, don't hope, don't wing it, don't just take a charity case and say, well, you sound like a nice bunch of lunch ladies. So David, does that count as a lead generating speech? If they find me, they want to hire me, they have no budget, and they're not my audience, my answer would be no, 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 and no. And I would say that very nicely, at least the first time. I would say that very nicely. The second time, I would grab you by the arm, and I would say, listen, you never do that again. What's wrong with you? By the time this escalator gets down to the bottom floor, you're $7,500. You're $15,000. We'd have that kind of talk. What do people pay for a virtual assistant? Okay, so I don't know. I guess it depends on what they do. It depends on where they are. You can go to the Philippines. My friend Chris Ducker runs a whole VA agency in the Philippines. His folks like $5 an hour. $5 an hour. You can get a very technical, very sophisticated, very valuable VA, and they might be $40 or $50 an hour. So, I mean, this is the problem, I think, with the whole kind of virtual assistant moniker, is we're talking, $5 an hour in the Philippines to $40 an hour to someone that can build websites and do your technology and do all kinds of other stuff. And there's an entire range in between. So, the best thing I would say is shop around and kind of see who's got what kind of capabilities and at what price point. I will tell you one thing that I've learned the hard way. You can overspend on the wrong kind of virtual assistant. You can underspend on the wrong kind of virtual assistant. And once you've got the role really well defined, like with any kind of hiring job, right, you have to have the role really well defined first. someone who fits that role, no matter what you pay them, whether it's $5 an hour or $50 an hour, it's going to be the best money you ever spent. It's going to be the best money you ever spend. So I couldn't run this business, and even if I could, this business would not be what it is without Sam and Morgan and the whole team supporting us and supporting you, of course, and supporting me and supporting Teresa and so forth. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if we didn't have a great team of folks. And so, define the role, define the work, and then find someone awesome to come in and do the work. And whatever that costs you, it's money well spent. All right. Yeah, and Karen put the exact same thing with the even bigger range. It could be $15 to $75. And again, it depends on, I think the one myth, I'll just dispel this because now we're having an entrepreneurial talk more so than a speaker talk. There's no such thing as one VA. People want one, I'm going to hire the super VA, like the super woman or the super man that can do everything in my business. They can build websites, they can do sales, they can do marketing, they can type up reports, they can do my PowerPoints, they can edit video, no. Those are almost always going to be different people, right? So you're going to have someone who's going to be a killer at graphic design, right? Give them the graphic design jobs. There's going to be people that are going to be killer, awesome at just doing all your video and audio editing, chopping up, slicing, dicing. Have a good video, audio editor, slicer, dicer, chopper. You're going to have someone who's great at content, chopping up your content, cranking out articles, doing ebooks, ghostwriting your blogs. Great. Find an awesome writer. It's rare, like really, really super rare, kind of like rainbow unicorns. It's that rare that someone's good at doing all of those things. So what I'd rather have you do is kind of parse out those typical VA tasks. So you have maybe one VA who's awesome at this, and he does that only. Another VA awesome at doing this. I'll tell you just a quick story, and Karen and I both know Tom Winninger. I interviewed Tom about this. Tom has 40 people working for him, anywhere from 1 hour a week to 20 hours a week. He says the only person who works full-time is what he calls his field coach. The field coach manages all the subcontractors. There's the audio person, the video person, the content writer, the marketer, the researcher, the script person, the client manager, the one that ships out the boxes. I mean, he's literally got 40 different jobs. Some jobs can be very, very small, an hour or two a week. And some jobs, his biggest job is like 20 hours a week. They're all temporary. They're all 1099. They're all specialists. He's an extreme example of kind of micro delegating these tasks. But he's got 40 people that do 40 different things. Each one is awesome at their one thing. Awesome at their one thing. And he says, it's the best money I ever spend. And he used to be, of course, managing all these people, which made him crazy. So now he said, the one person I need full-time is the field coach, because the field coach manages the other 39. And that's how he's doing it. All right, let's go to Susan. Susan says, if I would spend $500 to just attend a one-day conference with a 2-hour networking period, the ideal PA Bankers Association, Spring Women in Banking, potential clients there sees me, and should I worry about them perceiving me as talking with their competition? That's like 3 questions in there. What's the main question? It's a should I go, should I pay, or will they worry that I'm talking to other banks? Which one is the primary question? Go ahead and unmute and let's hear.
I think, all 3 are questions. I think because they've offered me probably about 8 different avenues to speak, I am a little bit concerned that if they see me talking to their competitors at this meeting, would that make me, not look as good in their eyes for working with them?
A banking client in Pennsylvania now?
Yeah, pretty much soon to be. I mean, we haven't signed any contracts yet, but we're, it's looking good.
So banks, banks are very geographically based, unless you're a big, huge bank. But most community banks that have 10, 20 branches,
Right.
If you're in Chester County, if you're in Montgomery County, if you're in whatever, Erie County out, if you're in wherever, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, what that means is you're a member of the industry. What that means is you're committed to their industry and helping their industry. I wouldn't shy away from an industry event because I have a client there and I wouldn't want them to see me talking to the competition. Frankly, I would want them to see me talking to the competition.
Okay.
Because the memo is, hey, if it's not you guys, it's these guys. If it's not these guys, then it's going to be him over here. If it's not him over here, then it's her over there. So someone's going to get me. Someone's going to get me. Line up. Let the auction begin.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I love it.
I'm ready. So who's going to be the champion of high net worth seniors in this room?
I like that.
Right? And also remember, if there is geographic competition, let's say in the Philadelphia market, the Pittsburgh market, whatever, you say, listen, I'm doing this with a couple of different banks. If you'd like me to be exclusive with you in Philadelphia, that's an extra X%. If you'd like me to be exclusive with you in the Pittsburgh market, that is an additional X%. I'm happy to go exclusive, but you want to pay me 50 grand to do this, then great. It's going to be 70 with an exclusive. Okay. Great. For the year, right? I'm just pulling out numbers out of my hat.
Right.
But, 30% markup, you're basically restricting me from doing any other business in this entire region. That has an economic value. It absolutely has an economic value.
Okay. Very helpful.
By the way, I'd want to make kissy face with everybody at that PA Bankers Conference now that I think about it.
Right. Learn how to work the room and get as many as you can.
Yeah. And then you know what you also do? Like as you're talking to someone, the guy you talked to a half hour ago, just go like this. Hey, I'm now talking to him. Yeah. See you soon. See you at the cocktail party.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'll wear my red suit. Thank you, David.
Yeah, bingo. Be really obvious in the room.
Love it. Thank you.
I mean, guys, this is so important. This is, I mean, look at the shift in the mindset right here. Susan coming in saying, well, I'm afraid. I just sit on my phone? I'm afraid I just sat on my phone. Or I sat on something. I just know it's not the dog. I let the dog out. But think of the mindset of, I don't want to offend them to bidding war. I mean, that's the mindset shift that we all need to make. That we're awesome. Why in the world would you say, oh, well, I want to keep a low profile? No, I want you to keep a high profile. I want you to say, oh my gosh, she's an industry player. We got to get her before the other guy gets her. I want them thinking that. I don't want them worried about it. I want them to, Susan, we were thinking about that 50 grand deal. We're thinking more like maybe 80 or 100 might be kind of more of the kind of, the depth and the relationship we want to have with you. Have them just start bidding.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And that applies to everybody. That's not just for Susan. That's for everybody, right? Don't be a shrinking violet. Go out there and say, listen, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Time to line up, gang. Who's first? Who wants some?
Oh, I love it.
Who wants some Cheryl? Who wants some Rocco? Who wants some Nicole? You better bring your checkbook, by the way, if you want Nicole. You better bring your checkbook, and it better have a lot of money in it because she's serious. She's here to win. She's not here to play. She's here to win. And you're all here. You're all here to win. All right. Rocco, if you do actual travel expenses, aren't you chasing them after the event? So I usually book the travel ahead of time. And again, usually it's airfare. So the airfare and then the hotel, they put you up in the room block, and it's rare that you have to pay your own hotel. So I will book the airfare weeks and weeks ahead, send them the invoice, and I'll actually get paid for the airfare before I get the speaking fee sometime, before I get the second half. So it's deposit to hold the date, 50% deposit to hold the date as soon as they book it. Let's say we book an event right now in October for $7,500. I get a check this week for $3,750, which is the 50% deposit. I'll probably book my airfare, the earlier the better, frankly. And now I've got like a printout from American or Southwest for, $375. I'll say, by the way, Jane, not Susan, Jane, I'm forwarding you my travel reimbursement so you have it early. Feel free to process that check at your convenience. And they usually do that in a couple of weeks. And then 2 weeks before the event, before, not after, 2 weeks before the event, I will bill for the second half. And we put that in the agreement, right? So it's due 14 days prior to the event.
Right.
Invoice, the second $37.50 comes at the end of September for your October 15th event. And usually that's not a problem for anybody.
Is travel just limited to airfare? Pretty much?
So people have different philosophies on this. I don't nickel and dime, $25 for the Uber. And, I don't nickel and dime it. I rarely rent a car because I'm lazy. And so really it's like a hamburger at the airport and an Uber ride. I just like some people submit it, and there's nothing wrong with submitting it. I usually don't bother. I'm like, I don't want, you had a hamburger. Did it with fries? No fries? Did you get a medium Coke or a large Coke? I mean, seriously, right? This is the prosperity mindset. The dog's not even ready to come in yet. I'm not sure I'm walking around. The prosperity mindset is let's not nickel and dime them, right? If we don't want to be nickel and dimed on our side, why in the world would we nickel and dime them?
You're flying coach?
Sadly, yes. Or Southwest. Again, I like Southwest.
That's worse than coach.
That's on American. So what I will do, what I will do now is I will fly first class, and I will only bill them for what it would have been in economy. Just because my tolerance for air travel is like this low. But yes, I've hundreds and hundreds of flights I did in economy, and I billed them economy, and that was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Unless you're Karen Buxman, I wouldn't play with like the whole first class thing. Karen can get away with it if she wants to. But I'm thinking that she doesn't necessarily pull that card too often. Okay. How do you overcome the conference planners saying they only go through speakers' bureaus? So that's tricky. That's tricky, and it's not. So there's a couple of ways you can play that. Number one, the first thing to notice about that statement is they're automatically commoditizing you, right? So you say, so you're not in this box, and we only pick toys from this box, and we don't go to that box. We never book speakers direct. I might ask a question about, I'm curious, Jane, what would need to happen for you to book a speaker directly? Would it be about value, relevance, expertise, experience, what your members get out of the program? I get it that's kind of a hard and fast rule of what you've done up to this point. How open are you to maybe shifting that around, especially since we're talking, right? We've already had, hopefully, the conversation about how awesome your program is and how you could serve their members. That's option number one. Option number two is to be a little bit clever. And a little bit clever way to do it is say, which bureaus do you like to work with? I say, we work with national speakers. We work with Kepler. We work with this, we work with that. I said, it's no problem going through them. In fact, if you don't mind introducing me to the agent that you normally work with and say, hey, by the way, we'd like to work with Jack. I noticed Jack is not on your current roster. This is a twofer strategy. Number one, you get a personal introduction to a bureau from a client. That's pretty good. Number two, you might establish a relationship with that bureau. The only downside of this is that gig that you would have got 100% of, you're not getting 0% of it, but now you might only get 70% of it because the bureau will take 30. So it's kind of a backdoor strategy to get introduced to a bureau through a client, because here's what happens. This is true in the publishing world as well. If a random publisher contacts you, and they're always fishing, they troll the web, they troll LinkedIn, they troll the NSA website. You'll have a little 23-year-old young woman, typically is who it is, calls you up, says, hey, yeah, this is Susie Cream Cheese from John Wiley & Sons. Leonard, I see you're a speaker, and I'm wondering if you ever thought about publishing a book. This conversation needs to be extremely non-committal. You say, little Susie Cream Cheese, let me put some ideas together and I'll come back to you. Hang up the phone. Now, you call all your buddies, including people in here and including me, and you say, hey, does anyone here have a literary agent that might be open to a conversation with a new author? And I would say, yeah, Leonard, I'd be happy. Like, what do you have going on? You say, well, Wiley called me. Because as soon as Wiley called you, and before you've said anything, before you've sent anything, a literary agent, like a Speakers Bureau agent, will drool at the following words. I have some interest from Wiley. I have some interest from McGraw-Hill. I have some interest from Penguin Portfolio. I have some interest from Amicom. And I'm looking for professional representation. Could we have a short exploratory chat? That's the shortcut to get an agent. Now, because agents are like sharks, and Speaker Bureau agents are also like sharks, they can smell blood in the water. When there's a deal going down and they don't get a piece of it, they're pissed. When there's a deal going down and they have to do no work and they get a nice piece of shark bait to the tune of 30%, that literary agent will talk to you. Sight unseen, no proposal, no query letter, don't know you from Adam or Eve. Your entree into that literary agent is, I have some interest from Wiley. And you legitimately do. Susie Cream Cheese called me from Wiley. She's looking for a proposal. I'm looking for professional representation. Is this something that we can talk about? Yes, great, fantastic. That's the book side. Let's switch to the speaker side, right? Would you introduce me? So who's your agent at Kepler? This is you asking. They say we work with Kepler speakers. Okay, fantastic. The question to ask is, who's your agent at National? Who's your agent at Leading Authorities? Who's your agent at Kepler that you work with? Oh, it's Stanley. Well, if you introduce me to Stanley because you and I are interested in doing this program together, and you seem really committed to doing all of your work through Stanley, I'm happy to talk to Stanley and see if we can work something out. Now, again, look at the posture there. I'd love to talk to Stanley. I've never gotten a whiff of interest from any bureau in my entire life. I suck. I'm terrible. No, I'd be happy to talk to Stanley and see if we can work something out, right? It's a posture of strength. It's a posture of, I'm willing to help you out if you only work through bureaus. If your hands are tied, I'm happy to play the hands tied game. You introduce me to Stanley. Stanley and I can have a conversation on how we can do this through Kepler. Great. The client says, we're about to hire Jack. Do you want a piece of this or not? It's the same exact dynamic as I have some interest from Wiley. And this is important before they say yes and before they say no, right? You don't want to get the acceptance from Wiley or the rejection from Wiley until you have the agent. And you don't want to get the acceptance from your client until you've had the conversation with the bureau. Now, two great things will happen. One is possibly a new bureau relationship that will be many, many years in the future. And number two, you will land this gig. The only negative is that you're giving up 30% upfront, but no pain, no gain. And by the way, the bureau will always get more than you can on your own. Always, always, always. I mean, I've got speakers that bureaus charge $20,000 and they take 30%. And so the speaker will get a $14,000 check. And that same speaker goes out into the marketplace and is booking themselves out at 5K or 7K. And I never get that. I never even understand that. But it happens. Oh no, they're Kepler. They're Leading Authorities. It's like, no, a different number leaves their mouth. A different number leaves their mouth than the number that's willing to leave your mouth. And that's why you're a $20,000 speaker on one day and you're a $7,500 speaker on a different day. And that's a whole separate rant, which we're not going to get into, but it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to kind of work that triangle and see if you can get in with the bureau that they use. Now, did you say, Jack, that you have a real live opportunity right now where they say we only work through bureaus?
We've had that happen in the past, and we didn't know how to approach it the right way because we said, oh, well, we're not represented by a bureau. And that was the end of the conversation. But
the next time you'll handle it the right way.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, by the way, how long ago was this?
This was just a few months ago.
Oh, I would totally get back with them. I would totally get back with them. This is such a great opportunity. I would say, hey, you know what? You might remember our conversation from back in October or November. And I forgot to ask you. This is totally my fault. I forgot to ask you. You said you only work through bureaus. We decided not to do a direct booking at that time. What bureaus do you work with? Kepler, National, this one, that one. Great. Well, you know what? Next time, so that we're not stymied by this obstacle,
I love it.
next time, so we're not stymied by this obstacle, I'd be happy to speak to the agent that you work with at Kepler and see if we can work something out for next year and see if they'll tee you up now. See if they'll tee you up now. Seriously. I mean, it's like a $20,000 idea right here. See if they'll tee you up now. And then the next time, right, you say, you know, I'm already in communication with them, but, you know, if this comes through, when this comes through next time, I'd like to have you guys handle it. I'd like you to kind of just put me in there. And there's no reason that even though I had a direct conversation with them, I'd be happy to hand this relationship over to you guys, and you guys put me in there next year. We were this close this year, and I want you to get a piece of this next year. And again, this is like you're coming in high, right? Not high on drugs. You're coming in high status. You're coming in taking the high road. Like, I want to give you some commission. And because your client just introduced us, there's two great ways to get bureau introductions. I would say the best way is from a client, and the second best way is from a fellow speaker that does a lot of work with that bureau. So that, you know, or the third way is if they had booked you, if this is the best way, this is the best way as far as vengeance is concerned. If they had booked you, right, bureaus will start to pay attention when they start losing gigs to you. Mm-hmm. Check her. Where the hell did this guy come from? He's not on our roster. What, he just swooped in? Like, what the hell happened? You call him up. You say, and again, I would ask the client, you know, who's your agent that you work with? I'd call up the agent. Hey, Stanley, Jack Hirsch. I just booked a gig with so-and-so. I know that you guys were putting some people up for that gig as well. The next time this happens, I'd love us to be on the same team.
I liked it.
Next time this happens, because it's going to happen again, I'm going to take more food off your plate. The next time this happens, I'd like us to be on the same team. What's our next step?
Love it.
That's how to do it, peeps. That's how to do it. What else? What else can I answer as far as questions? I see we got some questions here in the chat box about like IRS guidelines for expense reimbursement. All that's above my pay grade. All of that's above my pay grade. Check with your accountant. Check with your bookkeeper. Do not take any financial or fiduciary advice from me. What's my opinion on e-speakers? So, you know, it's funny. Any of these sites, you know, e-speakers is kind of the directory of record for professional speakers. It's tough. It's like being in the yellow pages, right? So here's the problem. You can have the full page ad in the yellow pages, full color, beautiful photography. What's the problem with the yellow pages? Is all your competition is above you, below you, to your left, and to your right. And so it's like, oh, I'm in the directory. This is great. I've got the biggest ad in the directory. I've got gold level e-speakers. I've got 17 videos, and I've got red headlines and bold bullets, and you're never going to win that game, right? It's like an arms race, like who's got the biggest flashing banners and the lights and how many videos and so forth. Any kind of directory, it's kind of like just putting a fishing line in the water, but there's no fish, there's no boat, there's no skill, there's no nothing. It's like you're there. I look at e-speakers. I look at Speaker. There's one called there's a million of them. Speaker site and all these kind of directories. Speaker Hub is a new one. Speaker Hub just came online a couple of years ago. It's an outpost. It is an outpost. So have your flag in the outpost. I wouldn't spend a ton of money. I wouldn't do all their e-blasts and marketing nonsense, only because it's mass advertising, right? It's that kind of batch and blast, spray and pray. let's get this out to everybody. Yes, bureaus get it. Yes, clients get it. There are some smart ways to use e-speakers. So if you have, like when you have a gig in Boise, Idaho, right? And you want to do some geo-targeting of who are some other clients in Boise, Idaho, right? Or they send out a blast saying, hey, Kristie's going to be in Boise, Idaho. Who wants to block book her? She's already traveling to the region. There might be some associations. There might be some companies that tap into that. But even that's kind of throwing darts on the dartboard. It's like, hey, I'm going to be in New York. Okay. Well, yeah. That's not, we're not solving a problem by being in Boise on March 22nd. We're not solving a problem by being in New York on April 4th. It's kind of catch can. And again, it's that commodity, oh, good, a speaker's going to be in our area. Woohoo. I mean, no one opens a bottle of champagne going, oh my God, Gary's coming to Atlanta. Yay, let's hire him. Why? Because he's just going to be here. That's why. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it. I wouldn't put a lot of, have the outpost, have all these outposts, have your listing on eSpeakers, have your listing on Speaker Hub, have your listing on wherever, but I wouldn't put a lot of money into it. I wouldn't put a lot of energy into it either. Good question. And again, everyone's looking for the magic bullet. Everyone's looking for the magic bullet. If I just do this, right? If I just buy Infusionsoft and I'm having an internet marketing company, if I just do eSpeakers, then I'll be booked out the wazoo. If I just get that one bureau relationship, and it's not any of these things. It is the right combination of things for you, for where you are, what assets you already have, what's your target market, what's your niche, where are you going, where will you find the most relevant, high-value, profit-rich opportunities for you. There's no blanket answer. I mean, that's why I was even reluctant, even though Ted twisted my arm. I was reluctant to say, well, show me some good speaker websites. I don't know. Show me some good cars. Show me some good houses. Oh, wait a second. Are you 22 years old, fresh out of college? Or are you an empty nester and you're about to send your last kid off to school? Or are you 79 years old and your wife has dementia? Three very different answers to, well, what's the perfect house? I don't know. Who are you? Where are you? What do you got? Where are you going? That's the perfect answer. And we come to that with some, a set of rational decisions, and we go from there. All right, team. Well, have a fantastic Thursday and Friday. I'm going to go to Baltimore for the NSA Winter Conference, so I'm going to be a little bit slower on the response time. Morgan is still here. Teresa's still here. Sam is still here. The lights are still on. I still have my cell phone, although I'm pretty sure I'm sitting on it right now. So let's not get too deep into that. And so I will be checking in a little bit and then fully back in the saddle on Monday. And the adventure continues on Tuesday. And keep using the Facebook group. Keep using the help desk, right? support@doitmarketing.com for the document reviews or anything that you want the team's eyeballs on, anything that you want your peers' eyeballs on. Facebook group, questions are good in there. Anything is good in there. But if you want immediate attention from us, support@doitmarketing.com is your lifeline. Hang on to the lifeline. All right, team. Love you guys. See you soon. Have a great weekend, too. All right. Bye.